February 4th, 2004.
Good afternoon, Earth, or
Subject.
evening, Earth. This is Adam Sturch broadcasting
know.
from the Mushroom Etching Talents, New Mexico, working
There
on
are
oil
no
painting,
knowns.
as of yet untitled.
There are no
Just going to start
unknowns.
another blank surface. I've got some Prussian blue and
There
cerulean
are
blue mixed up into a very
unknowns.
deep,
But there are
with a little bit of
also
violet, sort of indigo-ish kind of
knowns.
deep blue. So I'm just going to coat it with that and
That
then
is to
build it from
say,
there.
things that you think you know, that it turns out you did not. I wonder if in the future, public figures will write as many memos as I did. I doubt it. I must have gotten in the habit of dictating things that were important. Not a diary, not a journal. They're almost all working documents. Now they become historical documents in retrospect, but at the time, they all had purpose. In the later years of my using the dictaphone, why they were called snowflakes, because they were on white paper.
What would you say the total number of memos might be?
They said I dictated 20,000 just in the last 6 years at the Pentagon. There have to be millions. July 27th, 2001. A memo to Condoleezza Rice concerning Iraq. We've discussed Iraq on a number of occasions. The discussions have been inconclusive. Sanctions are being limited in a way that cannot weaken Saddam Hussein. We can publicly acknowledge that the sanctions don't work over extended periods and stop the pretense of having a policy that is keeping Saddam in the box, when we know he's crawled a good distance out of the box. Within a few years, the U.S. will undoubtedly have to confront a Saddam armed with nuclear weapons. If Saddam's regime were ousted, we would have a much improved position in the region and elsewhere.
Why the obsession with Iraq and Saddam?
Well, you love that word, obsession. I can see the glow in your face when you say it.
Well, I'm an obsessive person.
Are you? I'm not. I'm cool. I'm measured. If you look at the range of my memos, there might be 0.1% about Iraq. The reason I was concerned about Iraq is because 4-star generals would come to me and say, Mr. Secretary, we have a problem. Our orders are to fly over the northern part of Iraq and the southern part of Iraq on a daily basis with the Brits, and we are getting shot at. At some moment, could be tomorrow, could be next month, could be next year, one of our planes is going to be shot down, and our pilots and crews are going to be killed, or they're going to be captured. The question will be, what in the world were we flying those flights for? What was the cost-benefit ratio? What was our country gaining? So you sit down and you say, I think I'm going to see if I can get the president's attention. Remind him that our planes are being shot. Remind him that we don't have a fresh policy for Iraq. And remind him that we've got a whole range of options. Not an obsession. A very measured, nuanced approach, I think. In my confirmation hearing, when I was nominated to be Secretary of Defense, the best question I was asked was, what do you worry about when you go to bed at night? And my answer was, in effect, intelligence. The danger that we can be surprised because of a failure of imagining what might happen in the world. There are known knowns, the things we know we know. There are known unknowns, the things we know we don't know. There are also that third category of unknown unknowns, the things we don't know we don't know. And you can only know more about those things by imagining what they might be. Pearl Harbor was a failure of imagination. We didn't know that they could do what they did the way they did it. We had people working on breaking codes. We had people thinking through what are the kinds of things they might do. And lo and behold, the carriers were able to, on a Sunday morning, get very close to Hawaii, launch their planes, and impose enormous destruction.
Is it failure of imagination or failure to look at the intelligence that was available?
They had thought through a great many more obvious possibilities. People were chasing the wrong rabbit. That one possibility was not something that they had imagined was likely. July 23rd, 2001. Subject: Pearl Harbor post-mortem. In some future hearing, I am going to say that I do not want to be sitting before this panel in a modern-day version of a Pearl Harbor post-mortem. Who didn't do what, when, where, and why. None of us would want to have to be back here going through that agony. A month or so before September 11th, 2001, it would be wrong to think that someone who wrote it, namely me, was prescient. I wasn't. I simply had read enough history that I worried.
American 11, climbing table level 350. American 11, climbing table level 350. American 11, Boston. The American on the frequency, how do you hear me? American 11, if you hear Boston Center, recontact Boston Center on 127.82. That's American 11, 127.82.
My military assistant, Admiral Ed Giambastiani, came in and said a plane has hit the World Trade Center. It was assumed to be an accident. I went into my office from the conference room, and Admiral Giambastiani said another plane has hit the other World Trade Center tower. And of course, at that point, it wasn't an accident, it was an attack. Within minutes, I felt the Pentagon shake. That's how our day began on September 11th. They had hit the center of economic power in New York, and they then had hit the center of military power at the Pentagon. You need to find out what had happened. What was it? I got up and went down the hall and on my floor until the smoke was so bad I had to get outside, and I went downstairs and outside and around the corner, and there were pieces of that American Airlines airplane just spread all over the apron, all over the grass. Flames and smoke, people being brought out of the building who were injured and burned and wounded. The first responders really hadn't arrived yet. There were very few people there.
How do you think that they got away with 9/11? It seems amazing in retrospect.
Everything seems amazing in retrospect. Pearl Harbor seems amazing in retrospect. It's a failure of imagination. It's not as though you aren't aware of possibilities, but you tend to favor some possibilities more than others. And it's enormously important to have priorities. What are you going to worry about? What is it you want to do? What are you going to be prepared for? And you have to pick and choose. Well, to the extent you pick and choose and you're wrong, the penalty can be enormous. September 30th, 2001. Memorandum titled Strategic Thoughts. The U.S. strategic theme.
Alright,
should be
I'm
aiding
considering
local
throwing
people
some
to rid
black
themselves
in
of
the
terrorists
middle, but I'm
and
really
free
liking
themselves of
the
regimes that support terrorism.
brushwork, so I might just let that set, let everything
The regimes of such
solidify,
states should see that it would be
and
fatal
start the next layer
to
from
host
this spot.
terrorists who
So
attack
that's it for the
United
moment.
States.
Adam Sturch working on oil painting as of yet unnamed,
The United States government
broadcasting from the Mushroom
should
Ranch in Taos, New
envision a
Mexico.
goal along
Have a good night,
this
Earth.
line.